Welcome back to our next leg on the race around the world. We are the Pit Stop Pals. My name is Kevin Oliver, and this is,
My name is Bruce Heller.
and like I said, we are the Pit Stop Pals, part of the Reality Realm Network.
Okay.
Uh, Here with you to talk about season seven, episode 4 of the Amazing Race. Bruce, the title of today's episode was "What a Gaucho You Are." Who said
I know that.
that?
I know that one. It's Gretchen.
It's Gretchen.
I have to think about it for a second because, like, both Gretchen and Meredith I think of as more female names, so I have to think of which one is the guy for a second.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I
Um,
remember her saying that though.
yes, she actually said it like 3 times.
They're adorable.
Um, do you have any quotes?
I, w-
Some good quotes for this episode, Bruce?
I wasn't writing them down, but
How dare
Ross
you?
talking about the boat cracking in half was funny. Um, there's a lot of good content with those boats.
Yeah, I have quite a few quotes from this episode. Um,
I have a few quotes with Patrick where in my mind I'm just like, you're a brat, but not like
I
funny quotes.
was not a fan of Patrick this week.
I'm never a
Well, I had
fan.
a few. The first one was from I think it was Lynn. I'm still not sure which one's Alex and which one's Lynn. I think it was Lynn. It was when they were driving at the beginning, and he was frustrated with the people in front of him, and he said, "I'll run you off the road, biatch."
Yeah. Oh, I do have two. I have either Lynn or Alex on the train when Rob and Amber are coming up to the front of the train saying they're like an STD, just stay away. Which I'm like,
That's
good
not quite
Lord.
the quote, but I'll correct you when I get there in my notes.
I was summarizing the quote. And then somewhere, I don't remember the exact quote, but what I have written down in my notes is Patrick wants to run over a clown,
Yep, I got that too.
which was from when I watched this the first half last week when we were going to record, so I don't really remember the context.
Okay, I'll talk about it in a minute when I get there. But right after Lynn said his thing, Uchenna is also frustrated with the driving and says 40 miles an hour. It's like giving birth. Ugh. How would he know? How would he know what giving birth is like for one thing? But that's besides the point, I suppose.
So what, the baby
Um,
comes out at 40 miles an hour?
I guess
I don't get what he's saying.
I don't either. That's just what he said.
I've never given birth yet, so
Oh, I hope you're not planning to give birth at any point.
well, I'm not, but science. They develop new things every day. Who knows what's coming? Maybe I'm a
Um.
sequel.
Anyway, more quotes. We have Ray making what I call a stupid comment. We took a penalty and now we're stuck at the bottom with these bottom feeders. I don't like being associated with people of this caliber.
You
That
are
was
that
a
caliber.
super cocky quote. Super cocky.
He also
Um,
absolutely is on the same caliber as them, so I don't want to hear it.
yeah. Um, when Robin Am, we got a couple things. Okay, when Robin Amber got on the flight, Lynn literally says, "I if it was any other team, they would have gotten applause, but we all hate Robin Amber."
Which do they all, or is it just you?
I'm pretty sure all 4 teams were all very happy that Robin Amber didn't make it. Like I think that was made pretty apparent, and they were all disgusted when Robin Amber got on the flight.
Uchenna and Joyce were working with them at some point earlier in the season, though, so I don't know when that flipped.
Yeah, well, me either, but I'm pretty sure all 4 of those teams were cheering about them not being on the flight prior to them getting on the flight. Um, Here's what you were talking about. If there was ever a time you wanted permission to run over a clown, that was what Steven said, and it's because uh, evidently in Buenos Aires when or no, it wasn't even in Buenos Aires. It would have been in Mendoza. Evidently, in Mendoza, Argentina, when you're stopped at a uh, stoplight, street performers step in front of your car and juggle or do weird things. And so a clown stood in front of their car and juggled
And
when was in their way. And that is what the context was.
who said that?
That would have been Patrick. I wrote Steven. I still keep saying Steve that Patrick looks like a Steven. And it's really confusing me.
It's an insult to Stevens everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Um Ray and Dina. Ray's got a lot of quotes for me this week. It's a horse. You've got to do better, or you got to do it the right way. He's not broken. He doesn't need new batteries.
Ray was so condescending with the horse thing, but he was so funny.
It was such good content, man. It
That
really
and
was.
you have to yell at the horse more was weird advice.
Patrick says, "Mom, I want you to stop before we have an embarrassing moment."
Dude,
It's too late. It's too late.
I have one before that. And she said, "Put your feet in the stirrups." And he said, "Hey, mom, let's try being quiet." You're such a brat. Shut up. Who talks to their parent that way?
And then when he got done, my crotch hurts.
Good.
Also, here's the other one you were talking about earlier. Um,
The STD one?
they're kind of like an STD. You've got to protect yourself against them.
And the best way to do that is stay away.
Yes.
Okay. See, I summarized it decently. I just didn't get it word for word.
And you were talking about the boats. Rob says, "Holy cannoli, our boat just cracked in half."
Yeah. And then I gave
Um,
the boat driver part of me because I gave him my hat was a funny scene.
yes. Also, Rob, it's like I was born. Oh, they were talking about being lucky. It's like I was born with the horseshoe right up my ass. That was a quote from Rob.
That'd have to be a really small horseshoe. Also, ow.
Uh, taxi driver was taking his time, so Ron said Pokey, called him Pokey. Pokey is taking this time.
Gosh darn it. Yeah.
And then I got a couple more here. Ray, there's no way I'm losing to them. They're a couple decades past where they need to be.
No.
And then
Last.
right after that, he said, "The two teams behind us are two of the weakest teams. It would especially hurt to be eliminated by them." And I put in my notes at this point, it seems like they're setting up a Ray and Dina exit, which I thought was going to happen for a little bit there
Yeah.
towards the end.
There was a while that I thought it was going to be an NEL.
Yeah, I wondered.
Because when he announces the pit stop, he usually says will be eliminated, and he said may be eliminated this time. And usually when he does that, it's an NEL from my experience. So I was surprised when it wasn't.
Well, I'm
But
pretty sure
happily surprised.
a lot of times he tries to say may be eliminated, so we don't know when it's in.
Fair enough. I feel like it was a reasonable guess, though.
Fair. And then the last quote, surprise, surprise, was also from Ray. "I'm not losing to a 70-year-old man and his wife, even if it were checkers."
They would destroy him in checkers. Let's be honest. So would I. I'm good at checkers.
You wish. Okay, those are my quotes. I know that was a lot of Ray content there, but now that we've done quotes, we can get into the episode. I had a comment before we even really got started. As Phil was doing his recap of last week, he says, "Can Susan and Patrick come back?" And my comment was, "I hope not."
Yeah, please no.
But anyway, Len and Alex were the first to depart at 3:49 a.m. and we find out that they have to take a 25-mile taxi ride to La Lunta to a place called Cabana La Guatana, and they were going to have $45 for this leg of the race, which doesn't seem like much until you realize that this was pre-2010. So probably like 2005 or something. I don't actually know that. Let me fact check that before I go on record
Yeah, I
saying.
would look it up, but your internet's going to be faster than mine right now.
Okay. I just said probably like 2005. March 1st of 2005 was when the premiere of season 7 was.
Yeah, because it was that sounds right. It was after All Stars, and All Stars was 04.
It
So
was after All Stars, but pre-marriage.
yeah,
So that's why I was thinking, yeah.
yeah, 05 makes perfect sense. Good job, bud. You got something right.
Woohoo!
Don't get used to
Um,
it.
what?
Don't get used to it. It doesn't happen very often.
It happens more than you do. So
I didn't say it didn't, but that's a very low bar to set for yourself.
that's very true. I'm not setting that bar. I'm just making an observation.
Fair enough.
Len and Alex are still obsessed with Rob. We find that out very early in the episode. That is once again the first confessional they make, being so proud of themselves for beating Rob and Amber on the last leg.
It's like
And
Colonial Island. Everyone on there was obsessed with him too.
except for Aaron, um, but Rob, not Rob, Lynn and Alex and Uchenna and Joyce, they are the first two out of the gate. There's a decent time difference because if you recall, last week was the week in which three different people chose to take 4-hour penalties. So um, our departing times are a little more stretched out here. But they get to Cabana La Guatana and find out that it opens at 6:30. The gates to this place open at 6:30, and the clue box is literally right inside the gate, so they can't get their clue until 6:30. Alex and Lynn get there at 6 o'clock, and once they get there, the clue is actually a roadblock. But real quick, these mountain views are incredible. I just want to say
They
that
are
once again. I was
pretty. Are these
absolutely stunned.
are these still the Andes Mountains?
Yes,
And those are the same mountains that are on the little package when you eat Andes mints.
which are gross.
What? No?
I don't like mint and chocolate together.
That's fair. What about mint by itself? Like, what about the Shamrock Shake?
Real quick, I gotta.
Okay, so he's actually at work and doing something, so I'm gonna stall for a little bit. And you guys know how I stall. I just show you what's around me. So this is a little paperclip holder. I'm in like what's gonna be the study slash office at my new house I'm moving to. This is a little paperclip holder. If you dump it, it's magnetic, so you can't see them. But there's like little paper clips inside of it. Um,
No problem.
this this is a little screw that's just sitting here. I don't know why.
Sorry, it is a crazy day today at work.
Oh,
Uh,
I just went into show and tell mode. So
oh, nice, nice. We are hosting men's fellowship tonight, so there's a lot going on around here.
so if you're listening to this, wherever you are in the country, drive to Iowa when you hear this and go to
Yeah,
fellowship.
that's right. Okay, like I said, it was roadblock time when we got these clues, and the roadblock is who's ready to horse around Bruce. I think I'll take this one.
Okay. Make sure
You good with that?
make sure the horse has fresh batteries.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
And
Uh,
make
uh,
sure you yell at it, because apparently you need to yell at the horse,
yeah,
according
you got to
to
be mean to the horse. Yep, got to be mean to it. Yeah, I'll take this one. It's called the Gaucho Challenge. Ride the horse around a series of barrels and spear a ring with a stick uh, in 40 seconds, basically, is what you had to do. This was evidently something that is like a traditional Gaucho challenge in Argentina, and so that's what they're trying to emulate here. And the people who actually did it, because roadblocks are the ones where only one of the two people get to do it, are Alex, Joyce, Kelly, Brian, Rob, Dina, Meredith, and Patrick, where once again I wrote his name down as Steven. I'm glad I don't have to deal with him anymore. That way I won't be doing this anymore. Um, Alex, he failed his first time, made it his second time. He was fine, didn't really run into any problems. He barely missed it the first time. It was like 41 seconds out of the 40. But Joyce, she was struggling, my man.
She was.
She literally got bucked off of the thing.
Yeah.
It was on its back hind legs, and they were not uh, happy with their horse. But that being said, they still got it done before anybody else started.
Yeah.
Those two teams did. And so they received their next clue, which was to drive 25 miles back to Mendoza, where they had just been, to the Mendoza airport, where they were going to take one of two flights, one leaving at 9:30, the other one leaving 5 hours later at 2:30, which is a long time
It's
and
such a big
different.
gap.
It's a huge gap, and this is the kind of thing that's really going to define your race. Is this 5 hour plane ride? And they were flying to Buenos Aires, Argentina. We are staying in Argentina this week after getting there about halfway through the last leg, and they were to go to the English Clock Tower and find the dude who is in the raincoat, and he will give them their next clue. Ron and Kelly and Brian and Greg at this point were driving to to the horse challenge, and they were following one another. But Brian and Greg did miss their exit, and so Ron and Kelly got there first, and Kelly balled out and got this on her first try.
Yes, she did. That was awesome.
But Brian and Greg, they finally realized their mistake. They went back, and actually, Brian had the fastest time of the day, 33.75 seconds he finished in.
That's wild. Good for him.
Yeah, it was great. By the way, like I said, we had two flights, a 9:30 and a 2:30. Bruce is having a heart attack. You good, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, he hasn't died yet. But he does want you to know that he has a really cool captain lamp in the background.
Yes, that's the captain. He's my best friend.
Okay then.
Not actually, but my best friend that lives in my new house.
Yes, if you haven't noticed, Bruce is in a new location. Bruce is about to move.
And I don't have my recording studio set up yet, so I'm in the room that's going to be like my office and study room.
Is that where your recording studio is going to be?
No, this room's supposed to be a bedroom. There's a little room connected to the living room that's meant to be an office. So I'll bring my like smaller desk from home. I have a big desk I got from Goodwill.
Okay, wait, okay. So
I'm gonna
is
have a
the
room
actual
just for
office
recording.
going to be your recording room?
What?
Is the actual office going to be your recording room, and then that second
Yeah.
bedroom's going to be your actual office?
Yeah, this will be like where I work and write stuff, and I'll have bookshelves and stuff in here. And the other
And
room
then
will
and
be
then, and then
recording.
the room that's made for an office is going to be your recording room.
Yeah, because it's smaller,
Yeah.
and I live alone, so I don't need a second. Well, there's actually three bedrooms. There's another bedroom that I'm gonna use as a guest room, so I don't need this to be a bedroom.
Right.
This is a study, basically.
So I was just kind of trying to talk out what you were saying to make sense in my head.
I'll be right back. Keep talking. Keep going through the episode.
Okay. We're going to keep going through the episode then. Um like I said, 9:30 was the first flight. 9:30 and 2:30. And so the teams that made it on the 9:30 flight were as follows: Alex and Lynn. That was weird.
I'm the
Joyce.
guy in the raincoat.
Oh, I like that. What's the logo on your jacket
St. Louis Christian College, where I went to school for 1 year.
before they died?
Yeah. What?
Anyway, the 5 teams that got the 9:30 were Alex and Lynn, Joyce and Uchenna, Ron and Kelly, Brian and Greg, and Rob and Amber. The teams that got the 2:30 flight were Meredith and Gretchen, Ray and Dina, and Patrick and Susan. Um, but this is where Ray is crying because. Okay, you talk about Ray. I gotta take a phone.
Yeah. So Ray was interesting this episode, guys. He again kind of pushy, kind of annoying, but gave us some great content to get onto this flight. So these 3 teams, Ray and Dina, Susan and Patrick, Meredith and Gretchen, they're 5 hours behind the other teams, and they're the last 3 teams, as we'll see.
And it's because Ray and Dina and Meredith and Gretchen decided that they weren't going to try to eat their food, which is their fault. Anyway, so this is when he made that stupid comment about how he doesn't want to be associated with people of that caliber, talking about Meredith and Gretchen and Patrick and Susan.
Even though he's the same caliber they are, in my opinion.
Yeah. But then we shoot back to this flight where Joyce and Uchenna, Brian and Greg, Alex and Lynn, and Ron and Kelly are all sitting in this small plane cheering about the fact that Rob and Amber aren't there. They're all happy that this is happening. And we're seeing this as Rob and Amber are like, I can't wait to see their faces when we get on this plane. And they're all like, I'm so happy that Rob and Amber are on this plane. And then Rob and Amber go on this plane and they were all really pissed.
It was hilarious to watch.
It was great to watch. That is absolutely true. And that is why Lynn says if it were any other team, they would have gotten applause. But they didn't because they are them. You know how you were talking about Ray and Dina and how you don't really care for them?
They're growing on me.
I actually made an observation here that, yes, Ray and Dina, they were kind of arguing during that horse thing. But
funny.
It was funny. But when push came to shove, they worked out their problems. Ray ended up supporting Dina in the moment. He just had to get his frustrations out of the way, talk about the batteries, talk about how do you want to quit. She said no. She tells him why she's struggling. He says, Here, take your shirt off for some reason. She took her shirt off. Please don't take your shirt off. He put something on her leg or whatever. She ended up tearing it up there. And they went on their merry way. They solved their differences, and they went back to being why I assume that even though they've been on and off for 3 years, they aren't completely broken up or anything because they actually can work together in a positive way.
Yeah, see, I didn't like them the first episode. They've been growing on me steadily. And also just by comparison, the more I see of Patrick, the more I like Ray and Dina because I just can't stand him. So they look better by comparison.
That's fair. It's like Brooke and Robbie were for me last season, but maybe not quite to that level.
Susan, I don't mind as much. I just can't.
I hate Susan. I hate Susan.
I don't like her, but I have a different level of disdain for her son than I do for her.
They're both terrible to me. Anyway, everybody has done the horse thing by now. Everybody's getting to their plane, on their plane, whatever. And we go to where the first group, the 9:30 plane people, Jeff's here. The 9:30 plane people are getting off the plane and they have to travel by train to the city of Tigray. And Rob and Amber are the first people to get off the plane and to find the guy in the raincoat, which is you.
Come find me, you guys. I
Rob and Amber found you first. And Alex and Lynn, it's funny to me because they were the last team off that plane to find the guy in the raincoat, which I thought was funny because they went from first to fifth. But then
That's
they
such
all
a
got on the
vague descriptor. The guy in the raincoat,
what?
like the clue the teams got was find the guy in the raincoat. That's so vague.
Yeah, but they did it.
Kind of funny.
But all five teams got on the same train. So just like the planes, trains, and automobiles here, we got the plane, we got the train now. They're all together. And uh, when we're on the train is when Alex and Lynn decide they're going to go to the front of the train to be the first ones off. And then Rob and Amber see Alex and Lynn there, so they do the same thing. And that is when the STD quote happened. You good there?
Yeah. My
Good.
reflex is kicking in a little bit, but oh well.
That's tough. Anyway, the detour happens.
Yes, you have shipwreck or island.
And real quick, you explain what Shipwreck and Island were.
Yeah, so guys, shipwreck is they have to go through this 7 square mile, I think, area with a bunch of old shipwrecks and find the specific one in this picture. And the picture is the only hint they have. Island, they have to go down this really long river and make this turn and find a specific island that has a clue box on it. And so that's Shipwreck and Island. They're both interesting. That we saw some really cool things play out. And so he's back. So what I was telling the audience was with Shipwreck, they have this 7 square mile area where they have to find one specific ship in an area full of shipwrecks, and all they have is the picture. In
From 30 years ago.
go down a really long river and find a very specific island with a clue box on it.
And that picture was from 30 years ago before it was a wrecked boat.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part.
Yeah. Um, and so the teams, you did a good job of explaining that. Good job, Bruce.
Hey, gold star for me.
The teams that did Shipwreck were Robin Amber, Joyce and Uchenna, and uh, Brian and Greg, while the other five, Alex and Len, Ron and Kelly, Gretchen and Meredith, Susan and Patrick, and Ray and Dina all chose to do the island task. And just saying, their boats were crappy. As we see, holy cannoli, our boat just cracked in half. But Rob and Amber still found they found their shipwreck first, and they find out that they have to travel 30 miles to uh, La Martina, which is a prestigious polo club, which will be the pit stop for the next leg for this leg of the race. And along with Rob and Amber's boat cracking in half, we have Alex and Lynn, whose motor is falling off the side of their boat while their boat is taking on water. And Rob and Amber having to go slow because of this big crack in their boat. But this is when Rob gave his boat driver Carlos his hat to give him part of himself. He gave him his socks hat.
Yeah.
But we find out here there's a rule that if a boat or any form of transportation breaks down to no fault of the racers, they can get a replacement vehicle, but they don't get any time credit for that. So Alex and Lynn, they get a new boat, but they don't. They just. It's unfortunate they don't get any kind of time boost or anything.
Yeah, that
They
sucks for them, honestly. I don't even like them, but that sucks if you're them.
absolutely. But it was at this point where we see the the pit stop for this leg of the race is Robin Amber, our team number one, and won a trip from Travelocity for two people to London, 5 nights, and I got another visitor, I think.
Yeah, so they win this trip to London. There's lots of cool stuff to do in London. You have Big Ben, which is basically just a giant building with a big clock on it. You've got the London Eye, which is a big Ferris wheel, which I learned about from Phineas and Ferb. And so
Uh,
we're moving.
oh, sorry. You keep talking.
We were talking about London. That's a really cool floor. So yeah, the London Eye, that's a big Ferris wheel. I learned about that for the first time from Phineas and Ferb. So make sure to watch your cartoons, kids. They'll teach you something. Um, let's see. They've got soccer in London. They've got, I don't know, I haven't been there. So Big Ben, London Eye. Buckingham Palace too, I guess. Um, I'm thinking. It's in England. And so yeah, that's where Rob and Amber win a trip to. And then Brian and Greg finish in second. And Uchenna enjoys finishing third. And so
I'm
yeah,
back.
are you,
Hello.
yeah, we were talking about London, then I ran out of things to say about London. So I said Brian and Greg were second and
They
Uchenna
did get
were
second
third.
place, and it wasn't by very far.
No, they were almost right there.
They did good.
Good for them.
Yeah. Did
Love
you
them.
say you got third?
Uchenna and Joyce got third.
Uchenna and Joyce did get third. Ron and Kelly fourth. Lynn and Alex fifth. That may or may not have happened because of the boat, but it is what it is. And it's funny because all five of these teams are at the pit stop, and the second that 2:30 flight is just now landing in Buenos Aires. So more than half the teams are done, but Ray and Dina, Meredith and Gretchen, and uh, Patrick and Susan haven't even started their detour yet. And this is when Ray's talking about how he can't lose to old people or anything, but it was funny because Ray and Dina and Meredith and Gretchen got on one train while Susan and Patrick got on the other, and Susan and Patrick thought that they were in the lead, which I thought was hilarious. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Susan and Patrick's boat also died. So these boats are just crapping out left and right. Wild stuff. But
Real quick,
what?
Uchenna and Joyce found the island while looking for the shipyard. That's wild.
It is.
Okay, carry on. I just wanted to point that fact out. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. You're good. This is your podcast too. Um, but this is when things get wild because Ray and Dina found the clue, or found their next clue on the island. Were on their way back, tricked Meredith and Gretchen into thinking they hadn't found it, and Gretchen and Meredith followed them away from the island.
That's crazy.
Almost screwed up their whole game. It was crazy.
That was wild.
Also, at the same time, Patrick wants to give up.
Oh my
He
God.
says, I don't know why you want to stay in this, as they're waiting for their boat to be
Yeah,
fixed.
she's trying to stay positive of, oh, as long as there's a glimmer of hope, we still have a chance. And he's just, no, there is no hope. life is death.
And in full, uh, in all capital letters, I said just quit at that point because I don't like them.
I didn't want him to get the satisfaction of getting what he wanted.
That's fair. But anyway, at this point, Ray and Dina finishes team number 6. Meredith and Gretchen come in as team number 7. And in a quote from Meredith to Phil, most amazing thing about this is that we're still upright. Not that we're not going home, but that we didn't collapse. And then Patrick and Susan, team number 8. I'm sorry to say, but you have been eliminated. I'm not sorry. Phil might be sorry. I'm not sorry. Thank God they're going home.
Phil has to say he's sorry. I don't know if he actually is or not.
I hope he's not. But that was how this week's race ended. Was with the downfall of Susan and Patrick, which I am completely and utterly okay with, and so is Bruce, who is cheering. Anyway,
Patrick's just a brat. Like he's so annoying every week. He throws a fit anytime anything doesn't go his way.
so do you.
Not like that.
Anyway, power rankings. You got them?
Yes.
All right. Who you got in 7th?
I love them. I hope they don't go home. But it's their age is starting to become a factor, so I have to put Meredith and Gretchen here and hope they don't go home next.
You're going to be surprised. I did not put Meredith and Gretchen here.
Huh.
I put Ray and Dina. I was going to put Meredith and Gretchen. I actually had Meredith and Gretchen's name written, and I changed my mind because after all of this talk with Ray basically trashing their age and saying how he beat him in anything, including checkers, I just think that the production is setting up for Ray's downfall prior to Meredith and Gretchen going home.
Yeah, probably.
That's just like an edit read. Do I think Meredith and Gretchen going home is a real possibility next? Yes. But edit read wise, I put them in 7th. Or in Ray and Dina in 7th. Who do you have in 6th?
Ray and Dina, so we basically just had those two swapped. Because as great as he thinks he is, I think the rest of the teams that aren't these two are kind of just Ray and Dina aren't on their level. So
That was fair. And I have Meredith and Gretchen here.
nice.
Uh, like you said, age is becoming a factor. I've been having Meredith and Gretchen fairly low every week, and I just don't think that they can hold up to basically any other team here. Like I already explained, the only reason they didn't get last place on my rankings. It is what it is. Who you got in 5th?
Who do I see? This is where it starts to differ from the finishing order.
Uh-huh.
I have Ron and Kelly.
Okay.
I know they finished ahead of Lynn and Alex, but Lynn and Alex have been pretty strong other than this week. So I assume they'll get back to that at some point.
So I also have Ron and Kelly in 5th. I know that that's not the finishing order, like you said, but I think I like Ron and Kelly. I would love to see them in the end.
Me too.
But I think honestly, all 5 of these top teams are strong, and it just the way things have been swinging, I just had to put them here for now.
Agree.
Who you got in 4th?
Michael and Scott.
Well, you're really bad at predicting the future. Let's just say that.
Well, I figured you'd see the Brooke and Robbie joke coming again, so I switched it to a different team. Oh, I lost your picture. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. But no,
I did that on purpose because I wanted to be on time for Be Real.
uh, yeah, I'm really bad at doing Be Real. I've done it like once or twice in the past month, I think.
Yeah, loser.
But no, I think here's my thing. I've done
I don't even
it
know who
well
you're.
for the past couple weeks. I figured you'd probably see that coming again. I had to keep you guessing. So at fourth place, we have Michael and Scott,
Okay, who's your real fourth place?
Brian and Greg.
Okay,
But really,
you gonna
Michael.
elaborate or?
The other three teams are better. There's the
I'll
laugh.
go in.
You didn't laugh at Michael and Scott, but you laughed at that. That's fair. Brooke and Robbie
Um,
such a big laugh out of you each of the past couple weeks, and Michael and Scott fell flat. So I'll keep searching for different teams to put in there for that joke.
okay, okay. I also put Brian and Greg in fourth.
Wow.
Um,
We're really similar this
yeah,
week. It's kind of freaky.
yeah. So my whole thought and logic and reasoning behind this is, yeah, they finished second this time. They've been a little more inconsistent. Um, Not every week is going to um, match up to their skill sets just because the last couple have.
Yeah.
So I think eventually the meatheads are going to be meatheaded and struggle with some more brain side of things.
Yeah, especially going up against someone like Rob.
Especially going up, I could see. I mean, I could make that argument for about every other team in the top five
True.
that Brian and Greg aren't going to be able to stand uh, at the same level when it comes to a brain type
Can't believe
challenge.
you're calling him dumb. How dare you?
No, I'm calling them meatheads.
You said they won't stand up to the other teams in smart challenges. You're calling them dumb.
I'm calling them meatheads.
Define meatheads.
Dumb.
I was right.
Who you got in third?
Lynn and Alex.
Okay, I expected that from you.
Yeah, they're not my favorite team in the world. They're super petty, but they're you know what? They're good at this game. The only reason they didn't finish higher this week was because when your boat breaks through no fault of your own, time wise, it's still held against you for some reason, which I don't like them, but I also don't like that rule. So I wish they got
But
some.
how would you change that rule though?
I have no idea, but like they got punished for something that
Because
was
okay, because
no fault of
here's
their
how
own.
I look at it. Here's how I look at it. What if we're not talking about fourth and fifth? What if we're talking about the difference of staying or going home? And the team
Exactly.
that come hang on, no, hang on. And the team that comes in seventh stands on the mat and they're like, all right, you got seventh. And then the team comes in right behind them, Lynn and Alex, whose boat broke down and they had to wait for a new one. All right, you finished in eighth, but guess what? You team that finished in seventh, you're going home because Lynn and Alex get 30 minutes added to their or subtracted from their time because their boat broke down. I don't like that idea of I did not I was not the last person to the mat, but I'm getting sent home. I do not agree with
I,
that.
yeah, that's bad. I also don't like the idea of we wouldn't have gone home. Our boat broke, which wasn't our fault, and we're now going home solely because of that. Like, that sucks. Also, like they didn't. If they had gone
But
home,
the fact of the matter is, okay, Brett or Bruce, you're I can't barely hear what you're saying because your internet's crapping out.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Bruce, yes, and it was yes,
Can you hear me?
yes,
No. So what I was saying
yes.
was, oh, we're delayed now. That's what it is. Okay. But no, what I was saying was I also don't like the idea of we wouldn't have been in any danger of going home. We would have been second to last super safely, but our boat broke and we're last because of that and we're going home through no fault of our own. I also hate that idea.
Right, but I also think that that's that is more of this is life. Things happen,
Yeah,
and we just gotta. There is a factor of luck in this game.
fair enough.
Any of these games you are. I cannot see a world where we send somebody home when they weren't the last people to the mat.
I think. Okay. So here's the thing then. With our last, and I think you've convinced me with this rule, by the way, but I have another question now. With our last rewatch, we had the save.
Yeah,
Does that just make it a non-elim?
I think so.
Because they have a certain number of episodes planned out to shoot.
I think it becomes the non-elim.
Okay, so they just have to shoot an extra episode if that gets used, or have an extra leg, I guess.
It,
Because
I think
they have their whole like shooting schedule planned out ahead of time.
correct,
I
and
feel
I
like
think
someone has to go home if they use the save because they've got the non-elims pre-selected.
I kind of think that um, there's a. I feel like they have since well we didn't see it play out because the save was not
They should
used.
have used it just to answer our question.
Let me talk. Um, I I think that they probably had a few different safeguards in place. If you had to ask me, um, they probably had a tentative non-elim that would probably not exist if the save was used.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Um, they could also do things like uh, maybe a, a a double episode, like a sped up episode, do a double. Or they could have maybe done like a weird. You're going home in the middle of the episode, so don't be in last in the middle. There's a lot of things they could have worked around. My
Fair enough.
guess is my guess is the top one is that they would have taken uh the that I'm actually guessing that's probably why they put a limit on when you could use the save.
Yeah,
So you can't use the save past this date because we got to know if we're going to have another non-limb or not.
yeah. This
That's my
save is
guess.
also just so overpowered as an
It
advantage.
is, and that's why we haven't, and that's why it's not a regular uh, game mechanic.
Gosh, that was such a fun season, and this season is very fun also.
Yes. Now I'll tell you who my number three team is, and that'd be Uchenna and Joyce.
Ooh,
Um,
we're finally different again.
yeah. I think they're fun. I like them a lot better. But I just have better arguments for the top two spots, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what do you got at two?
You, Chenna, and Joyce. I
I
think we
expected
just
that.
flipped our. I'm guessing we just have our twos and threes flipped like we had our sixes and sevens.
Yeah. I had Lynn and Alex here. Um, yeah, they got fifth. Yeah, it's because they had to switch out their boats. They're still probably the most or second most consistent team in this race. No matter if I don't like what they say, no matter if I don't like that they
Yeah,
are always opposing Rob and Amber.
they're so
They're
good though.
they're, they're still great racers, and um, I'm not here to push my own agenda. I'm here to talk about what's going on, and I can't deny the fact that Lynn and Alex are really good at this game.
No, I said they were really good.
I know you did.
I gave
I'm
them
not.
their credit. I just think you, Chenna, and Joyce are really good also. I think we're
I would agree, and that
50-50.
wasn't a shot at you. I think it was more at a shot of there's people who are going to always say that Rob and Amber are the best,
Yeah,
even when they don't do bad. That's why last week I put them way down at like fifth in my power ranking, Rob and Amber,
yeah,
because they had a bad leg, and I couldn't stand on first or even second when there were other teams playing better. I think it was more of a shot at people who are going to let their biases affect where people
I
go.
forget. I don't think I had them at first last week. I think I had them at second or third.
I think you did too. I think you had them at second. I think you had Uchenna and Joyce number one.
I had Brooke and Robbie number one.
Yeah, well, you've had them number one for a couple weeks now.
They've been killing it this season.
It's been great. You're right. Great TV.
I think
Actually, that's not true. They've been killing it, but they're really bad at TV. This season, they were really great before. This season, they're really bad at TV.
they should
It's like you couldn't even know they were there.
they should have a team do this where they come on and if they don't win, they just keep coming back each season until they eventually win. Just like
Anyway, that leads us to who our joint number ones are.
also,
Rob and Amber.
I forgot to ask because you had to talk to someone.
What?
Which of the detours would we be doing?
Okay. I think that I would say shipwreck.
That's what I wanted to do also. Okay, cool. And so at number one, we're all over the place as usual. Welcome to the shenanigans, y'all. Um,
That should be our catchphrase. We should make merch.
yes,
Welcome to the shenanigans, y'all.
I can probably take our logo and put that phrase on it and make stickers out of it.
I want a shirt.
Those are probably more expensive, but we can look into it.
We'll discuss this off record.
Yeah.
Anyway, we both have Rob and Amber at one. They're playing an incredibly dynamic game. It's hard to deny how good they are. And that's all I got for you, man. That's all I got. Rob and Amber are great.
It's such a strong top five. You've got Rob and Amber.
Incredible top five. And I would
Alex.
argue
Brian and Greg, I hadn't really thought of them up on this level, but last week and this week they've been killing it. And Michael and Scott are right there with them. So,
and I would argue that the top six are actually all really good. I know that you're not huge on Ray and Dina, but
they're growing with me. He had a really fun week.
I think that they're solid in comparison. I don't see that much fall off between Ray and Dina and Ron and Kelly.
Well, and you're saying this about Ray and Dina, but you had them in last. Like the other.
Yes. Keep in mind, that's an edit read thing. Do I think they are better than Meredith and Gretchen? Absolutely. But I think it's an edit read thing for me is why I put them in last. I was treating this as how I think like next week would go.
For their age, Meredith and Gretchen are doing awesome too, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This was a fun episode.
Incredible episode.
Great ending also.
Yes, I would jump for joy about that episode for sure. Bruce, thank you. You jumped for me. Good job. Bruce, you got anything to plug for the Reality Realm Network?
Survivor 47 is in full swing. Check out Tribal Council chat.
And I'm currently winning the draft.
Yeah, even though the teams are even right now, it's not like last season where my team just completely was obliterated by this point in the season.
Correct. But I'm still winning.
The draft is, but it's competitive, which is exciting because last season you had basically already won by this point.
That's fair.
So check out whatever they're doing at New Generation Challengers. They do good work. And keep listening to our show and our little circus we put on for you guys every week.
Absolutely.
No.
We love what we're doing here at Pit Stop Pals, and we're excited to keep talking about season 7 of The Amazing Race. And with all of that being said,
go.
The world is waiting for you. Good luck.
Be safe. Go.
Go.